packet. And then here, even though it says Atlanta Audubon, it's the same organization. And on the inside, you can find a lot of the common birds that we have in this area that we'll likely either see or hear here today, or that you might see in your yard. Some of them are here year round, and some of them are migratory, so they may be heading south right now. And then beneath each bird, it says what some of their favorite plants are. So if you are a gardener, if you like planting plants that attract wildlife, it lists all the specific plants. If there's a bird on here, you're like, you know what, I want this bird in my yard. You can plant these plants, and these are the plants they like. So feel free to help yourself to that. And then a little Georgia Audubon sticker you can feel free to use or have if you'd like. But please help yourself to many donuts if you don't mind, because there are a lot here. So if it's okay with y'all, if we could go around and just, I know many of you, if not all of you, already know each other, but I would love to learn your name, and then if you have a favorite bird, if you could share that with us. If you don't have a favorite, that's okay, and hopefully maybe we can get you a favorite after today, depending on the birds that we see. All right, so I'll go ahead, and there's some napkins too. I'll go ahead and start. My name is Corina Newsome. I am the Community Engagement Manager with Georgia Audubon, and I'm also an ornithologist, which is someone who studies birds. And my favorite bird is the blue jay. It was the first bird I ever learned about, and it got me hooked. So we can go this way.
I'm Bernadette Hartfield, and I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. So I've been here a very long time. And my favorite bird is probably a woodpecker, just because I remember from childhood up until now, waking me up in the morning. Woodpeckers. And of course the cartoons, right? Woody.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Hey everyone, I'm Jennie. Wren is a bird that's extremely common where we are, and they have this very beautiful song, and you are really likely to see them in your yard. And during spring and summer, if you have literally any sort of open hole, whether it's a mailbox or a shoe or a wreath on your door, they will build a nest in it, like with no problem. So they're very, have you seen these around?
Yeah, I have 4 o'clocks in the yard, and they build in the 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
They built in my Christmas tree.
Oh,
They had eggs.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Then they flew away, but they came back and tore the nest down.
Really? That it might have been other birds. They're very territorial, so they'll look around for other wren nests and tear them apart.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
they're very spirited birds, is what I'll say. Anyway, so that was the Carolina wren. They kind of make a sound that's like tea kettle, tea kettle, tea kettle, tea kettle. If you can kind of remember that mnemonic. But if you have not used binoculars before, would y'all like binoculars? I've got extras here. Also, it's really beautiful, just like watching the leaves. Hishing. Ooh. Did y'all hear that?
Yep.
Who knows what that is? Blue jay. Hopefully they'll do it again. It was a brief. That was a bad impression. But my favorite bird is the blue jay. So anyway, the hishing is essentially a sound that's kind of like the universal bird sound for there's something over here that you need to see. And a lot of birds make the sound. So usually when you make the sound, birds will kind of come out of the woodwork sometimes to see what the fuss is all about. So I'm going to try making that sound and see if we can get some birds that are over here to show themselves just a little bit more. falling leaves look like birds to me. There. I paid them to be here and they're not showing up. Okay. I didn't pay them enough. They need a raise. We'll give it one more second. I think that a lot of like United States culture has taught us that like straight up lawns with just green turf is like the most beautiful kind of status symbol or whatever it might be, right? But in fact, the richest way to manage your green space is to kind of let the native plants grow, or even plant some if you can, and let leaves accumulate. We're kind of taught to rake all the leaves up or burn them or whatever, and there can be reasons and needs to remove leaves from some spaces, but if there are places where you can let them stay, the birds definitely appreciate it. So let's again try and listen for sounds and watch for movement. One of the reasons why you have to kind of be still is because if I'm moving, it's hard to detect when something is moving even slower or more finely than I am. So we're going to pause again here and just look around, okay? And if you see something, look high in the trees, but also try looking sort of towards the ground. If you see something or hear something, let us know. It's like a faint pretty, but we weren't able to hear that bottom note because we're so far away, but that's what I was hearing with the cardinal. And they typically say pretty in some way. So I think that's what we were hearing just now. Oh, he's still over there. Okay, I see. All right. We're glad you're here. We're just making our way around. It got pretty like windy and dark for a second, so I think the birds kind of like took shelter waiting for the storm to come by. Because a couple of you have mentioned like woodpeckers waking you up, knocking on your house. So woodpeckers peck wood to find bird or bugs, or to like excavate a cavity for nesting. But if they're banging on your house, that's essentially their song to attract a mate. So springtime is, I mean, I imagine it can happen year round, but springtime is when it really happens the most, because they're drumming to kind of draw the attention of a female. And so they'll use your house, they'll use what's the pipe that comes down to drain the water. They love that because it echoes. So if you're lucky enough to have a woodpecker on your house, that's why. But over here, very briefly, and this is great woodpecker habitat. I believe I heard a red-bellied woodpecker, and I'll show you a picture of it in case we don't hear it. No one is particularly afraid of snakes. I love snakes, and so if there's a snake, I will always be happy to grab it for you. Just even for future reference. But let's look, kind of watch these edges, because sometimes little birds or other, again, bug-eating animals will hang out around the edges of water. So let's take a minute or so and just watch this water, even just to calm your own soul. But look for any sort of wildlife or movement that you might see on the edge. I'll stand up here. Feeders. Look at the ropes holding the feeders up. There's little birds.
Look at the Peter over here, across.
I just saw